What's going on, everyone? We got some interesting news per Andy Blarson. Andy Blarson is a Jazz beat writer who works for the Salt Lake Tribune. He's a guy that has the inside source on the Utah Jazz, and he says Bojan Bogdanovic expects to be traded soon. Again, per Blarson. Now, this is very interesting. Obviously, the Lakers are the first team that comes to mind. It could be somebody else. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the Lakers, but the Lakers, based on all the reports from the Jazz, is the only destination at this time, that nobody else has stepped up to the plate. Yeah, the Phoenix Suns are a team that want Bojan Bogdanovic, but how do they make that work? What, Jay Crowder and Dario Saric and a first? Then they still have to move those two guys or waive those guys, and it's just like, are you shoveling out all that money just to get on a first? It doesn't make sense. I don't know how they would get there, and I don't know who else is giving up a first round pick, plus not giving up salary or giving an expiring deal that the Jazz can just waive. It very complicated. It makes things very complicated, and that's why I think the Lakers are the best scenario. Also worth noting that is very interesting is multiple people, including Mark Stein, reported that the Lakers were planning a press conference today, right, at 2 p.m., and then it ended up getting canceled, and now they're just going to do that during Media Day, which is this upcoming Monday. So a deal very likely could be done by this Monday. If a deal is worked out by this Monday, then that would make sense, because do you really want, Russell Westbrook, or, if you're Utah, do you really want Bojan Bogdanovic to have to show up in a jersey, take pictures, have all that stuff, and then you end up trading them a day or two later? I don't think so. So I think if a deal gets done, it gets done this week. If the Lakers are going to make a trade to acquire Bogdanovic in multiple pieces, because it can't just be Bogdanovic straight up. So very likely it's Bogdanovic, Clarkson, and then they're trying to work out the other piece. Beasley is very likely the third option. Basically the three guys you see on screen right now. This is probably what the deal is going to look like for Russell Westbrook, and then however many, picks or swaps or seconds or whatever ends up being the case. Now, the Lakers could also use Jordan Clarkson, maybe flip Jordan Clarkson to another team, even Beasley if they want to go that route. Although, I would prefer that they keep Beasley, because then you have a true, number two small shooting guard type player. I would rather the Lakers go that route. Then you have Bogdanovic, and you move off of, Russell Westbrook. You can move off of Jordan Clarkson, maybe even Kendrick Nunn, as high as I am on Kendrick Nunn. But if you could get a Cam Reddish or something like that, I think you got to do it, because then you have Bogdanovic and Reddish who could both play the 3 or the 4, and I think that that'd be a good spot. And then you match up, and it just gives you another wing to go up against several teams. So if we don't get a deal done in the next few days, I don't think it's going to happen. But it is interesting that they had a supposed press conference set up. Again, that could have been anything. And I even said it in the video that I covered. Could have been anything. For all we know, it could have been the introduction to Dennis Schroeder. It could have been just them just wanting to kind of clear the air and help people understand what's going on with the roster, the vision, things like that. Doesn't necessarily mean that there was a trade, but it is interesting that we got that. And then today, we get the report that Bogdanovic is expected to be traded soon, and it's okay, that's pretty interesting. You kind of have what would have been a press conference today, and then a report that kind of came out around the time of that press conference. It's just, it could be, connecting dots that aren't really there, but it's at least worth a mention. It's at least worth the discussion. But as far as Bogdanovic going to Lakers, we would all welcome it. We'd all love it. This rumor mill and this back and forth, and 1 minute it's this, the next minute it's that. It's just at some point, it's both of these teams got to come to an agreement. Right now, they both only have each other. So find a medium, find a happy common ground, get a deal done, work it out, sing kumbayas. The problem is both sides want to feel like they won the deal. Danny Ainge wants to feel like he fleeced the Lakers, and the Lakers want to feel like that they walked away with a deal and weren't scathed, weren't fleeced themselves. And it's if you're Danny Ainge, your greed is going to end up being your downfall. You had an incredible offseason. Anything else is just a cherry on top. Anything else is just an icing on the cake. You don't have any other options. And what's going to end up happening is either A, you're going to have to give up assets to move off of these guys, or you're going to have to just waive guys. And then you're in a position to where it's like you could have gotten something, but instead you got nothing but the same tax bill, and you just burnt $2 million or whatever it is. And because something else that I've seen a lot, which I think is worthy of addressing here, is, people say all the time, like, oh, like they could just waive players. Like, like they don't need it. It's not that much money. But here's the thing. If you could get something, isn't it better than getting nothing? Are you telling me that it is better to just waive 2 players, ruin your plan of tanking, by the way, because this team is still very good. This team, as is, with the veterans and the young core, is still very good. This team could be playing for a play-in position and just stumble their way into the playoffs by accident. You only got to win 2 games. So, it's very possible that that could be the case. And now Utah just went backwards instead of forward, and you have a generational guy that is in this draft, or what many people believe is a generational guy in this draft. Wouldn't you want your best odds to get that? And on top of that, besides just getting something rather than nothing, you're just burning money. At least if you do a Russell Westbrook trade, yeah, you're waiving $47 million rather than like $2 million, but you're still paying the same amount of money. And that's something that people don't understand. They're like, why would you waive $47 million when you could waive $2 million? Because you're sending out the same amount, if not more, in that deal. So you're saving money in the long run. And you're moving off of future salaries and all that stuff. It equates to the same. Because it's not like the Jazz, if they waive the $2 million, it's not like Westbrook comes in and they have to now waive $47 million plus the players they traded plus the... No, it's not how it works. You're basically swapping salaries. It's just you're waiving a bigger salary than a smaller salary, but it still balances out to the same amount. The only difference is, again, you get something. Whether it's a first in a couple seconds, that's better than nothing. And I do think Danny Ainge, sooner or later, is going to take a step back and realize, like, I got to get something. I don't want to just give these guys away, but there's nothing else. We're approaching that deadline. I need to move something. Because technically, the Utah Jazz don't have to trade anything until the season begins. Literally the day before, they could make a deal and move off of these guys. But I think at that point, it'll be a lot harder, and teams are definitely not going to give up more. Like, if you get to that point, like, Danny Ainge will probably never get more for the Lakers than he would right now. So you might as well get that. And even if you want to move to another team, even if you want to trade him to another team, my whole thing is like, why hasn't he? If he had a legit deal on the table, these guys would be gone. The problem is there isn't one. There isn't one. The Lakers deal is still the best deal. That is why Danny Ainge is waiting around. So you might as well get what you can from the Lakers. If you really believe that one of those future firsts is a lottery pick, then why wouldn't you want to get the lottery pick rather than like a Phoenix Suns pick next season that's going to be like, a number 30 pick? Like, it makes no sense from that standpoint. But one last little thing I do want to talk about is the whole LeBron James, because LeBron James has his camp tomorrow. So if a deal doesn't get done by today or tomorrow, pretty interesting. Now, I personally don't believe that the Lakers are operating on LeBron's camp. Like, they didn't say that to begin with. They said, by our training camp, which, is next week, is basically the 27th for most teams. So I don't see the Lakers, like, if a deal arises, say Friday, and LeBron and Westbrook are at the training camp, it's not like the Jazz are going to be like, or the Lakers are going to be like, sorry, Utah, Westbrook's already at LeBron's camp. Hate to break it to you, we're not going to do the deal anymore. They could maybe play it off that way. They could maybe pretend, but in all reality, look, if come Friday or Saturday, Utah says, all right, we'll trade you the guys for what you want, the Lakers aren't going to say no. So that is something else to keep in mind. Obviously, the Lakers, I'm sure, would like to get a deal done before LeBron's training camp. So that way, you have that team building exercise. You kind of, figure each other out. You build that chemistry. You build that relationship. Stuff like that. I am all for that. That is what I would like to see the Lakers achieve. But that's literally tomorrow. So it's one of those things. Do the Lakers try to get a deal done tonight? Which could happen. I mean, look, it says that they expect to soon. Maybe it happens today. Maybe we wake up tomorrow morning and it happens. But again, I don't think that they're operating on LeBron's timeline, if that makes sense. But anyway, again, however you feel about it, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of this news? Is it great news? Not great news? However you feel. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Quick little shameless plug, everyone. If you enjoy my videos and commentary here on this channel, As It Stands Lakers, then check out the link down in the description below and go subscribe to As It Stands. Believe it or not, As It Stands was the first channel. If it wasn't for that channel, this channel would never have existed. Because of the success of that channel, it led me to want to create this Lakers channel. So do me a huge solid. If you're not subscribed over there, go check that out. Go subscribe over there. I talk all things sports, all teams, things like that, not just the Lakers. So if you just enjoy my commentary and want to hear me talk about other things, or you just, are a fan of other sports and other teams, go check that out. I promise you will not be disappointed. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.